We are.
We are.
We are
Warmatics.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Warmatics podcast, episode 6. Today, joining me is Jake.
Jake, that's your
Oh,
part.
we introduced.
You say hi.
That's your line.
Look,
Yeah, let's restart that
I
one.
didn't get the cue.
All right,
Alright. Ready? 3, 2, and 1.
that's staying in.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Jamie, and welcome to the Warmatics podcast, episode 6. Today, I am joined by Jake,
What's up?
Nerdy,
What's good, everybody?
and our new member, Vendible.
What's up?
Joining us also are two guests, Adromgit and John281.
Hey.
Oh, okay, just introduce at the same time so that way we have different bird cues. The point of this, Jamie, is that they can put a voice to a name. So if you say John and a Drongit, they have to guess which one is who.
Exactly, so they have to guess right now.
No, the one that was just talking was John.
Yeah.
On screen,
Well, that
there
was
is a
Yana.
visual
There we
that shows who's talking, so that does help.
Okay.
Gotcha. But anyways, starting off the podcast, we'd like to announce again, Vendibles just joined the Warmatics. Welcome.
Welcome, Vendible.
Indeed, what's
Hello.
So, what are you going to be doing for Warmatics? Are you a recorder, editor? What are you?
An uploader.
That's right.
An uploader?
Hey,
Awesome.
you with me?
What do you plan to upload?
You know, it's like mainly Overwatch because I have nothing else.
Don't we have an Overwatch team?
Yep, they post every
You
Friday.
know, actually, funny you mentioned that. I was actually that was the thing I was going for.
Yep.
Oh,
And, like,
really?
he told
He
me
was-
that they already had one.
He was
So I'm
applying
like,
to be a part of
okay.
the Warmatics Overwatch team, which, again, after the podcast, we can talk more in depth about that. So, we have
But
a
yes.
topic today.
We do have a topic. The topic today we want to talk about is drama on YouTube and how it affects your channel.
All right?
So
So
every year, what?
Never mind.
Every year, it's kind of noticeable. There's always more and more drama coming on, like what I've noticed every year, and every year it affects channels differently. Sometimes bad, sometimes good. Sometimes it just does nothing. But for the most part, it does tend to affect your channel in a everybody thinks good way, but I'm pretty sure, in my opinion, it would be bad. So, what are your opinions on that?
I think it varies based on what the drama is. If typically drama is classified as a negative thing, but I guess drama could also be a good thing. For example, the Fine Bros and that whole catastrophe, I think that ended up with a net gain of more subscribers because it brought people in to see what everyone was talking about. But in a lot of cases, it ends up being either a minor or major net loss and a hit to the channel overall. At the very least, the personality of the channel, or personalities plural, take a hit in their social standing and stuff like that. A lot of people think worse of them due to the drama.
Exactly. There's not like one kind of drama. There's always, it's not usually just one party involved. There's two, so you're gonna have different effects on each channel. It matters what kind of drama it is. Sometimes, like you said, it can be positive. Sometimes it can be detrimental on a large scale. Sometimes it can just ruin somebody's career. But in other cases, it can really help it. But like you said, there's other kinds of drama. There's positive drama. There's like a free exposure and whatnot. Everybody checks it out and subscribes, likes what they're seeing, and it can really help a channel explode if it's not too big. And then there is negative, which, as the name entails, it's negative. It's really bad. It kind of really is a net loss, like you said. I couldn't word that better myself.
Yeah, I mean, like, it kind of depends on the situation, though.
Mhm.
Like, with Fine Bros, they should have had a loss, but for some reason,
And they did have a loss for a long time. Their
everyone can
views
check
went
them
up
out.
because everybody clicked on the videos, but they lost
Yeah, but like
millions of
they, I
subscribers.
can't remember how many they lost. It was what, 2, 3 million?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that they kept like there was like a whole meme of congratulations on getting back to so and so million, and then congratulations on getting back and stuff. And I was like, yes,
Yep.
but there's like, what are your opinions on it, Andrew? Like for drama.
Well, I think one of the most interesting cases to me is when it can affect an entire genre of YouTube, such as prank channels. When the biggest prank channels started having a lot of drama, there was some legal trouble. I think there was some cases involving some major YouTubers concerning rape charges that were brought against them because of that, and or well, sexual harassment. I misspoke. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And because of those, you think how popular are drama? I mean, not drama. Are those genre of videos, prank channels? Those seem to go down a lot more. In fact, I think a lot of these more staged drama events are happening from prank channels now to get back the popularity they once had. But it's those kind of dramas that bring them down, and they have to find new ways of drama to bring them back up.
I agree. Like, prank channels did take a big old hit to it. Like, they were everywhere for a long time, and now they're a joke. You know, the prank gone wrong, gone sexual is now a clickbait
Okay.
meme.
In the hood.
In the hood, all that stuff is just a meme at this point because of the drama that went down with the prank channels. Absolutely.
And then I feel like with prank channels, they're all fine until someone gets offended, and after that, they're done.
But what about the social experiments and stuff? Like, how does that, like,
That
say
ties
in a
into what I
prank
was-
channel, how would that affect the drama compared to a regular prank?
I think there's definitely a line that gets crossed, especially when it concerns the like social experiment kind of things. Like with what was the guy's name, Sam Pepper and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like there's definitely a line that gets crossed. I feel like more often it gets crossed when people call it a social experiment. They feel more more leeway when with what they're socially allowed to do because they're titling it an experiment, even though it's still should be out of bounds for stuff that they can do. And that definitely is a huge vector for the drama. And I feel in a lot of cases it's almost inconceivable that they didn't foresee the drama that would come of that, especially the negative drama in a lot of cases.
And I guess
Yeah.
adding on to that, the reason that the social experiment came out, like it became a thing, was because of legal reasons. Pranks was getting such a negative light, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's a pranks is lawsuitable. Social experiment can be kind of played out a little bit and can pass for more extreme measures, as well as I was going somewhere with this." Like you said, Sam Pepper was a big one. There was Johnny Salad, I think, was a big one, and they did some ridiculous things that if it was labeled prank, they could have been taken to court. But they labeled it as social experiment, and so there was a little bit more leeway with the whole legal side of things. And the reason that they did that, and like you said, they didn't foresee the drama, is because they did foresee it, and they wanted to make money off of that. They knew that it was going to get big, and everybody was going to look at it and be like, "Oh, this is bad," or "Oh, this is good," "Oh, this is huge," and check it out, views, ad revenue, money. So there's people that coast on that drama wave on purpose. And that goes in lots of different communities, not just prank and social experiment channels.
We can move this on into like because there's the new drama that's been going on recently, Daddy of Five. They're not only a prank channel, we can use them to segue into vlog channels. But
Mhm.
they had a prank recently that blew up that got them a lot of drama and has put them in a very serious situation right now with subscribers and real life. And how do you think that why do you guys how do you think this is going to end up? How about that?
Pretty sure that channel's done now. They took out all the videos, and that family in that video that they left on there talked about how their family's destroyed.
It's it, a lot of people are speculating though because there is a lot of like police stuff going on with them right now. Maybe if they had labeled it a social experiment, maybe. No, I'm kidding. But but
Or
honestly though,
just
like
not do
there
it
is a
in
lot.
the
There
first
is
place.
police investigation going on them right now, and apparently a lot of people are speculating that they deleted all their videos to hide evidence. Like that's a really big thing now.
Mhm.
mean, even though they're deleted, it's still there.
Yeah.
Someone has it.
There are archives actually. People went about and downloaded every single video, and there are actual archives of this videos.
Well, that is some people's job. They look at this kind of drama as their job. One community I'm a little bit more familiar with than the channel that you're talking about is, for example, if anybody here plays Pokemon and watches Pokemon on YouTube, there's a specific larger member of the community that starts drama because it gets him views. And whenever he is in a struggling position financially or in a YouTube slump, he will pick a fight with a bigger YouTuber and start drama with him. Because that infighting between the two will get him views and more money. So there's people that spark drama just because they know, and it's a gold mine. It's money.
Like Drama Alert. Drama Alert does daily videos on drama that gets some views. It hurts people, but it helps him.
That's absolutely right.
And then like he gets himself into these all like screwed up situations, but I mean it's all his fault, and then he climbs back every single time. So
Do you guys think that he does that on purpose sometimes, or what do you think?
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, because the whole he's definitely blown up a few times from the different things. Like there was the whole Basher situation that he
He used that to his
skyrocketed there.
personal advantage.
Absolutely.
I think that's something that needs to be done though. Like stuff like that, the best way to dispel the drama is just not to react. But people tend to react because they feel like if they don't, they won't be validated.
Also, I feel like it's because it's human nature to want to learn more about it, to want to watch the other sides of video, to see what their point of view is on it, to just get in the midst of the drama, just because it's human nature. And the entertainer that is in the position of the drama knows that the audience is thinking like that. So they're like, yeah, let's spark it up a little bit. Let's get it bigger. Let's coax the flame. Let's get this flame more going so we can have more viewers, more people bantering back and forth. Because regardless of if it's positive or negative comments, like likes or dislikes, a view is still a view, and that's one ad watched, and that is money in their pocket.
And the thing about YouTube is dislikes actually count the same as likes
Exactly.
because YouTube
Yeah.
only counts things as viewer interaction. So with viewer interaction, that means the likes, comments, and dislikes. They are not put differently in different rankings.
That's right.
So if you get, like, say the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare thing, that thing got 3 million dislikes. That counts the same as 3 million likes on YouTube right now.
That's right.
What is everybody else's view on this so far?
I don't have a lot of input for the drama stuff like that because it's interesting that you say it's human nature to want to get into the drama and learn more about it and stuff like that. And to an extent, I agree. But I've learned I just don't want to touch any of the drama. I never look at any of the drama alert stuff. I never dig into any of that crap. I just try to keep as much distance between myself and that as possible. So I don't. A lot of what you guys have been talking about, I'm not sure.
And that's wise of you to do, and that is like someone who's standing back and realizing that they are able to do that. But just a random 12-year-old with the phone that their favorite YouTuber is under fire right now, they're gonna want to check it out, and they don't have that cognition to be able to step away from it. They're gonna want to know what's going on, and that 12-year-old viewer now gave money to both parties.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely where a lot of the money comes from. And I don't know, I'd like to see, I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I'd like to see the analytics for the average just YouTube viewer. Because I'm curious, I can always see the analytics for my channel and stuff like that, and occasionally it'll come up for other channels, and they'll talk about their average viewer and stuff. I'd be curious just what the average, even just the average age bracket for YouTube viewers are. Because I feel like they do tend towards, maybe not 12, but maybe the lower teens to mid-teens, somewhere in there, I feel is the main audience for most, if not all, of the YouTube content.
It's interesting you say that. I did actually read an article and look at some analytics that do show that. It is on the internet to find that. And the biggest age group that YouTube is marketing to right now is anywhere between 16 and 24. and that's the biggest percentage right now.
They're marketing to that, but they're trying to push down to like
They-
younger audiences.
They're
and
trying
stuff.
to. They do have a restricted mode, yes, for the younger audience, but they also have an app and an entire website called YouTube Kids for that audience. Well, YouTube.
I don't think the restricted mode was set up for the kids. I think
No.
the restricted mode was set up in response to all of the advertisers that had a negative reaction to a lot of the different content that their ads were being played in front of, which plays into the whole ad apocalypse or whatever everyone's been talking about.
Apocalypse. No, actually, the restricted mode has been here for it's been here for a little while now. I remember seeing it before all this stuff was going on.
And
That's true, but I think it was at the front edge of all of that.
they really ramped it up because of the
Right.
whole adpocalypse thing.
Definitely, yeah.
That's why a lot of gaming channels are taking a hit right now, is because they might play a game that's quote unquote violent, and so they will be put into a category where you can't even be searched by a person under a certain age. You just won't exist.
Stupid.
Yeah, I know Funhouse, I believe, and maybe even some of Achievement Hunter stuff is the same way.
Mhm.
So even the big channels that are multi-million and that's like their target audience are just disappearing essentially from the engines at large in order to find the content.
I think I know what our next topic will be after this, but let's keep going and see what we get from here, and then I can bring up the next topic for this. But moving on from that, yes, there's a lot of people that are being very much affected from this. Not just gamers, though. There's news channels like Philip DeFranco and Drama Alert and Scarce and those guys, and even some vlogs, from what I'm understanding. Like I think Daddy of 5 before all this stuff happened, they actually were being hit by this restricted mode thing, and there was a few others that were, but it affects everybody. And how do you think this is going to go from there?
It really does put a restraining on what kind of content you can put out there now. The only PewDiePie video that exists, if you turn on the restricted mode, is a Frozen video that he made, where in the tags he put family friendly, and that's what the new YouTube algorithm
Oh my god.
runs on now. Is it gets like curse words in the title, or anything that's kind of explicit or violent or anything like that. Because of they're still fine tuning this restricted mode, it will wipe a channel clean, except for anything that's kind of like labeled family friendly or something super innocent that even a little kid could look at. Even though in that video it has like spanking Elsa mini games and stuff in there and other wildly sexual content, but it's because of that tag that's the only PewDiePie video that exists in restricted mode. So there's definitely some issues with the restricted mode as well, and like you said, it's putting a change on the kind of content. People are going to start having to throw family friendly in their tags, or change their titles, which does change their style of their content. A lot of people like to make puns in their videos that are kind of clickbaity or a little bit on the edge, if you will. They're going to have to change that. They're going to have to change the thumbnail art that they're used to, etc., and their content as a large.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, like you said, changing titles and stuff like that. I know I saw a post a while back on, I think, Reddit that was talking about Funhouse went back and changed a bunch of their video titles and stuff like that to get out of the restricted mode, like just the hoop that just takes everything out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping, like everything YouTube I think has ever done, there is going to be a lot of problems front end. I can't think of anything YouTube's done that the community went, oh yeah, that's great, I appreciate that. That was awesome. And so I'm hoping that they can fix this one faster than the rest, but this is definitely causing a lot of problems. It also kind of shows the problems with like monocultures and stuff like that. When you have monocultures with plants, if you have all of the same thing, it can get wiped out. Again, if you have all of your income coming from just the ads from YouTube,
Mhm.
if the ads from YouTube turn off for a month, you're in deep trouble.
Yep.
You can't pay bills and stuff like that. So it really shows the importance of getting multiple baskets. That's the word. Putting your eggs in multiple baskets, whether it's YouTube and Patreon and Twitch and stuff like that. Twitch is now becoming a lot more open to things that aren't just gaming and stuff like that with their IRL mode and stuff like that. So it's showing the importance of diversification, even in such, I don't want to say elusive markets, but lucrative might be a better word. Lucrative marketplaces, as it were.
On the day of recording this, Rooster Teeth actually posted a vlog explaining how their channel makes money, how their company makes money as a large, and their 5 pillars was advertising, like the ad revenue on YouTube, and then merchandise, which is a very big one for them. Then there was live events. That's a big one, and etc.
Licensing.
So if licensing. Yep. So if one of them was wiped out, they still have 4 to run on, and that's absolutely right. Patreon, Twitch, that way you're not relying on just ad revenue, because like you said, if that's taken out for a month, that's a 1/12 of the year that you're not getting paid. That's big for some people.
It's big for a lot of people.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate to see all these big companies pulling out in the way they are. It makes sense given, like, seeing some of the reasoning and stuff like that. I know some examples that came up were at first they governments, I think, were the first ones to start pulling ads for stuff. I think some in Europe, and then as soon as 1 or 2 pulled, everyone else started looking at their content and started pulling their ads as well, because they were being played in front of like radicalist videos and stuff like that, just because YouTube doesn't really have a way to filter any of that, because it gets hundreds of thousands of hours of content every day, and there's no way they could see all of that, double check all of it isn't, Hitler stuff, or any kind of radicalist, whether it's Muslim or Christian or whatever. And it's unfortunate that everything the dominoes fell the way they did, because as one government saw it, then the rest saw it, and then the big corporations looked, and then everyone kind of started pulling their content, and it almost became, I feel like, more of a pull ads and then look kind of scenario.
Yep.
Whereas everyone else is doing it, so maybe I should do it too.
Oh, Coke pulled out. I bet I don't want my stuff on there, so I'm going to do what Coke did and pull out as well. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it's unfortunate to see all these things collapse, and basically the backbone of YouTube was pulled out temporarily, or at least the main backbone, as so many of these major corporations are what fund YouTube, as it were. And although I think, now that I think about it, there was a contribution mode, or like a funding mode that YouTube was trying to implement. I just realized I don't know what happened to that, because I remember I think it was maybe a year or 2 ago, they tried to implement something that was like, oh yeah, you can pay your favorite YouTubers X dollars a month or per video or something like that. I don't remember how exactly it worked, but I'm kind of curious where that went, because that would definitely help right now.
I think that still exists.
Is it a public feature?
I don't know. I think only companies can do it now, because I know that if you want to buy like an episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's $5 for a subscription to that, so you can have access to the episodes.
Yeah, and I think that's different. I think that ties into the YouTube Red, and maybe that was YouTube's answer. Because now that I think about it, it wasn't long after they tried, because I remember they opened it up for some beta testing on select channels, and it wasn't too long after that it kind of disappeared, and then not long after that, YouTube Red was kind of announced, and you had all of the special stuff. You had a lot of the different TV channels and shows, and all of YouTube's private content, like Laser Team and stuff like that kind of came out and was pulling YouTube Red. And I think at the same time, a lot of YouTubers were coming out and saying that YouTube Red, the cost breakdown, was going to hurt the bottom line and stuff like that. So a lot of people were avoiding it. I still don't have YouTube Red, but I've considered it a couple times.
I thought like YouTube Red honestly was to come to like challenge Netflix, like, for the longest time. Like, I just thought it was something to like be like, hey Netflix, look at us, we're bigger.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think it was, in a way, it was meant to do that, but I think it ended up being, I think they pulled back on that pretty fast, being a direct competitor with Netflix, and they just wanted to just be a more competitive thing and get income from other places. So that they weren't depending so much on the different corporations that basically fund, because now they've pulled out, and this is probably YouTube Red's helping out a lot right now with keeping funding going. And I've noticed, I don't know when it popped up, but a week or 2 ago, I think, YouTube now has TV, so you can stream some of the major TV channels with their TV subscription straight to your computer or smart device or what have you.
Oh yeah, it's also unlimited cloud DVR.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
But
Yeah, so
for $35 a month, that's also pretty steep compared to YouTube Red.
but question for question for you guys, because we're seeing a lot of advertisers leaving, or we've seen a lot of them leave YouTube and stuff, and with that, guidelines have changed a lot, and we're seeing YouTubers like pull their content out of YouTube and stuff. Do you think that we're going to be seeing a lot more people move to other websites like VidMe and like, I really doubt it, but like Daily Motion or Vimeo?
I don't think anyone's going to move over to any of those sites. They're so small, and they don't that percentage wise they are like 0.001% and smaller than YouTube. YouTube is such a major platform. At this point, saying, "Oh yeah, I was watching YouTube," is the same as saying, "Yeah, I was watching TV." So I don't think anyone's going to move over. It's YouTube has been here for too long. It's too much cemented its role in society. Not to say it can't die, but I don't think ad revenue changes are going to affect it that much.
I think because I've been seeing a lot of people, and I'm in a bunch of YouTube communities, as everybody knows, too many. But I've seen a bunch of people moving over to VidMe. There's a few different things with VidMe that YouTube doesn't do, and I'm seeing people who have moved to VidMe, and this is I'm gonna sound like a sponsored person here. There's nothing here with me. I just think VidMe is pretty cool. Anyways, VidMe has a whole crowdfunding thing built straight into the video viewer. So if the person wants to monetize their videos, the viewers and stuff can even help pay. I know I have a few friends who actually do make money through VidMe off the money that their viewers give them. As well as that, VidMe has a thing where they will make sure that you're in the know of what's happening to your channel or what's happening to other stuff on VidMe. It's a huge thing for that YouTube really doesn't do, and everybody wishes that they did. And so I'm seeing a lot more people being happier with VidMe at the moment than YouTube.
But I feel like everything that YouTube does, with a couple of small exceptions, like not being completely transparent with the back end and stuff like that. Although I've seen a number of videos on some of the back end stuff, on like computer file and stuff like that, about why they aren't completely transparent, because there is a level at which the transparency will let other people know how they built the site, and that's basically their proprietary stuff. And if that goes public, then they don't have, like, that's their leading edge, is how they made everything work the way it does. And so if they lose that, they lose their competitive edge. And so I can see sort of why they do that. I wish they'd be more clear about upcoming features and stuff like that. But I think a lot of the reason that they do everything that they do is for some reason. I feel like they didn't just on a whim decide to do this or that or the other thing. I still feel like they've made some bad decisions, like the Google Plus as chat and stuff like that. But I feel like the other companies, if they did do this, if they did get big as YouTube and stuff like that, they would be running into the same problems and have to do the same stuff YouTube is doing. Like there's multiple streaming sites and stuff like that that have that don't have the limitations of Twitch. Like for example, Twitch, you can't have different kinds of content and stuff like that. I don't think you can play genital jousting on there. You can't have twerking, and while you can do that on all the other sites, that's because the sites are so small. They wouldn't get hurt from doing it because they don't have enough to lose. Whereas Twitch, they have such a big standing and they're so important that they have to take everything into account.
Well,
What about
I mean,
Beam?
okay.
On Xbox just to kind of sabotage it a little bit, and then immediately put out their and push their new streaming app of Beam that they purchased, etc., and made it everything Twitch was, but better for the user. So I fell into the Microsoft trap, and I used Beam, and now I love it more than Twitch.
Interesting. I've seen a few people, I think, switch over to Beam, and they swear by it. But I've checked it out, and it didn't. At least this is at the time. This was ages ago at this point, but it didn't look all that user friendly. And I might be thinking of a different streaming site, but.
Well, you might be talking about Beam, because I know that it did go through a huge change whenever Microsoft really kind of pushed the good green button, gave it the thumbs up to go for it. Like now, just being on the site levels you up and validates you as a person on the site. That's instead of being huge like Twitch and having so many viewers, and that's how you get to be on the featured page. Instead, it's how active the viewers are in the chat, or how your level is in there. So how often that you get in there and you stream, then you are more likely to be featured. And I really like that as opposed to how Twitch does theirs.
That's interesting. It's a different take on it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they reward you for keeping people on the site.
Exactly. They reward you for people being on, like keeping your viewers entertained, as well as you putting content on the site. And it's relatively small still. Like, I think the biggest stream that's constantly going is Monster Cat Music with a consistent 500 people on there. But so whenever you get a stream, unlike Twitch where you're kind of lost into a sea of people, and you only get like 1 or 2 viewers if you're a relatively small channel, on Beam, I just streamed this last Wednesday, my first stream on Beam, and this is a record high for me. I had 12 people in my stream just hanging out that I've never had any connection with, and that I've never had that on Twitch because it's such a small community. And I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but if
Beam is better than Twitch, huh?
that is what my opinion is, and I'm sure that there's going to be some debate on that. But if VidMe can do what Beam has done to Twitch, to YouTube, then maybe I can see a point. But like John said, YouTube is so huge. It's a behemoth. No one's going to leave this behemoth to go to this tiny little kind of copper coin of a website, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you say you like the smaller community and stuff like that, because he definitely does have the interpersonal connection and stuff like that. But I think that's just a matter of timing and stuff like that.
Yep.
Because I've had, when I tried Twitch a while back, but then had to stop because I'd moved. And I was getting probably 10 followers every time I streamed or stuff like that. I had 12 people in there. I only streamed a couple times, but at one point I had 12, 13 people watching me at one time and stuff like that. And it's definitely changed, because I tried streaming again more recently, and I got 1 or 2 people overall. It just is a matter of when you get into the community. The earlier you can get into something, the easier it is to grow. That's why you have so many big YouTubers that started way early on in YouTube, 2007, 8, 9, 10. And that's why Rooster Teeth is as big as it is, because it does YouTube. It only started it years before. I think it started 4 or 5 years. I think it started 01, 02, somewhere in there, with the first Red versus Blue season, and they were doing that well before YouTube started. And so it's the same thing with Twitch. You have a lot of big people who came from when Twitch first started, or when it first converted over from Justin TV and exploded. So I think the same thing would be true of any site. If they're doing something, if you like the way they're doing something, you can support them and go over there, but know that they'll eventually grow and have to follow a lot of the guidelines as the bigger guys in the game and stuff like that. And it would also probably be harder for them to catch up, because it's a technology and a community and just a cycle of growth, and you're basically everything is going to grow at the same rate as everything else in a similar category. So VidMe is going to grow at the same rate YouTube did, but YouTube's got years ahead of it. Beam is going to grow at the same rate Twitch did, but Twitch has years ahead of it and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter where you're going, it's going to have a different feel, but there's a very low likelihood that it will overtake its competitors that have been there for so long and stuff like that. Same thing why you don't really have any new soda companies coming around, because Coke and Pepsi have been around since the 1800s, because they've got it down pat. They know how to do it. That's why they have, if you look at who owns what, there looks like there's lots of different drink options, but like Gatorade's owned by I think Pepsi, and Coca-Cola owns all of these and all of that. Nestle is owned by one of them, I think. And so if you start breaking it down and looking around, all the different competing soda companies are owned by either Coke or Pepsi. All of the drink companies and a lot of the snack companies too. I think Doritos is a Pepsi, but that might be wrong. I'm not entirely sure on a lot of
I think
that
it is
stuff,
correct
they're mostly owned.
because Pepsi and Doritos and Mountain Dew and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's probably validifies my point. But they're so big that a new people can't really come into the marketplace. Once one person has a chokehold, not even a monopoly. In this case, with Coke and Pepsi, it's almost a biopoly. It's the two people, but then that's it. No new people can come in and stuff like that. There's YouTube, and there can be others, but no one can challenge YouTube and stuff like that. And I know there's been a few cases of this in the past, like prior to the 2000s, where that really came into play. One of them was phone companies. AT&T Labs, Bell Labs, had all phone service. I think they had phone service to everyone in the U.S. And if I remember the story right, the government broke them up into multiple pieces and stuff like that and said, you can't, this is a monopoly, we won't allow this. And because of that, the price of everything skyrocketed because they were taking them apart because they didn't want them to be a monopoly and then just be able to charge whatever high rates they wanted. So they broke them up to prevent that. And because they did that, all the other companies had to break up and find like other ways to do things. And because they owned everything, they had a system built that could support it all easily. And so it was a one set rate. But then when they broke up, all of the rates went up because everyone had to charge more in order to counteract all the fees and stuff like that. Because it's easier to serve the masses than to serve a smaller group. That's why you have the mom and pop shops often cost more than like Burger King or McDonald's or what have you. And just kind of, it's easier to do a lot of the same than a bunch of unique pieces. And I think that's part of why a lot of people like the Beam and a lot of the smaller things is because it's able to cater to the smaller groups instead of just being a mass serving thing like Twitch is, even though the mass serving thing works better for the people who are bigger and for the company as a whole to help it grow and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have a question for you guys.
Go.
Moving on from this in the future, what genre do you think is going to be the most affected by like the future of YouTube so far?
You're gonna have to be more specific on genre. Genre of content, genre of game, genre
Prank,
of what?
gaming, vlogging, beauty, stuff like that.
I think gaming is going to be the most impacted by technology because already we're seeing so much come out. I'm waiting for the day where they have like VR YouTube, like full VR YouTube. They still have it, but it's like a 4K or 1080p video stretched to be a 360 video, which significantly drops the resolution. I want to see that resolution come up, and so that you can get the VR experience, but it still looks 1080p or 4K or what have you. And then I'm also interested in seeing maybe being able to record gameplay. I know ERVR and Hyper RPG does this with they worked with someone, can't remember the name of the company, but they worked with a company that did I think it was Surgeon Simulator and Real VR, I think, and they actually made it so that you can put a second person in the instance of the game that is camera operator, and you can have dozens of cameras set up in all these different places and angles and stuff like that. And the person playing the game can't see any of that, but they output it all to another camera outside of VR, so that you've basically set up a camera studio in the VR scene. And I'd love to be able to see something like that. I'd love to see more of that just everywhere, but I'd also love to see more of being able to record the VR scene and then upload that as not quite a video, but maybe an experience of some kind, quote unquote. So that you can actually, while Jacksepticeye or Markiplier or whomever is playing the game, you can walk around your own VR space and watch them play at whatever angle you want, because it's just a matter of saving in the same way you would save and play back like a GTA, or I think Call of Duty Zombies had it for a little bit, where it basically saves everything that's happening as like objects that are moving around, and then it replays those objects in that thing. So it's saving a video in a 3D format rather than a 2D screen format, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I'd love to see where that technology can take us and how much that can progress everything. And I'd also love to see how much maybe we can tie live streams into that with more social VR and experiences like that. Because at that point, you're blending the entertainment industry into the VR industry. Like you're blending YouTube. How am I trying to say this? You're blending gaming, like social gaming, in with video watching and stuff like that. So
you get the community interaction with it, just like a live stream.
Yeah. And so you're kind of blending.
That would
the
be very
viewer
cool for a
into the
live stream,
game.
actually.
Yeah, it would be awesome for seeing a lot of that stuff. You'd probably want to make sure that the viewer can't. You'd have to make it so the viewer is just a viewer and can't be seen in game, and that'd probably be pretty hard to stream. But that's another thing that'd be crazy to watch. You could be basically watching. You could watch someone play Rocket League live in the stadium itself or on the field and watch the cars fly around. Like that would be incredible. I would take a lot of bandwidth, but I think we're moving in that direction that we will have the technology before too long, especially with increasing speeds and stuff like that. A couple of years ago, gigabit was unheard of. Now you have Google Fiber, and I think Verizon offers gigabit, and AT&T I think offers gigabit. And in a lot of the major cities, they're offering higher and higher and faster speeds. I think you can even get 2 gigabit from Comcast if you can figure out how to talk to them. But we have such high speeds now that you can stream almost anything. It's getting ridiculous. And I want to see where that can take us and what genres that'll really feed into. And it will also be interesting to see if that can push into other genres. Can we take VR, set up a 360 cam in a room, and then just do something in a room? Can we do skits that way? Can we have 360 skits? Can we have 360, all the different genres? I just want to be able to see everything in a perspective and stuff like that. It would be crazy to see what virtual reality, or even not alter reality, AR. I forget what that stands for, but AR, where that could take us. I know Microsoft was trying stuff with their HoloLens. I want to see where that can take us and how much we can do with that. Because it would be crazy to see the person standing in real time in space in front of you and be able to interact with them. That would be incredible, especially for like going back to the streaming and stuff like that. To see the content creator standing on a stage basically, and he can look out and see all of maybe even the custom avatars, or maybe even actual people, just a stadium full of actual people looking at him and watching him, and they can look around and see the people next to them. So you've created a virtual live studio, a virtual live space. That would be incredible to see, and a lot more cost effective, I feel like. What do you guys think?
Very interesting. I think that's definitely the future that we're headed towards for sure. The future of gaming, if you will, of entertainment gaming. But like you said, if vlogs would be amazing like that. If someone's vlogging a trip to Paris, boom, everybody that's watching is now on top of the Eiffel Tower with everybody else, with the vlogger. It's changed entertainment completely.
Have you guys seen many 360 vlogs?
Not really. I think Casey Neistat did one.
I was about to say, I think Casey Neistat did one.
I know Corey Williams, aka Mr. Safety, aka
Yeah, Dude Like Hella, Live Each Day.
aka Dude Like Hella, aka Live Each Day, all that shit. He's done a few 360 vlogs, and he had some SMP films. He had some really amazing shots because he was up in Alaska from I think a mountaintop doing some 360 stuff, and it was just incredible the views you can see from there, and being able to actually look around yourself and see what's happening in a video format. It's incredible.
Yeah. I don't remember what I was about to say. I'll drop out in a second.
Jake, what do you think about all this? Well said.
Andrew, Andrew, what do you think?
Well, to getting back to the original question, I don't know really what other genre affected as much as the other ones. I mean, I'm just trying to think of any argument you make for beauty channels. Those aren't going to change that much. I mean, unless they have some new device that will help you put on makeup or such things like that. I mean, then again, our having limited knowledge into those genres probably affect that too. But it's just difficult to think of any other arguments opposed to those.
Building off of the beauty thing like that and where it might go in the future, it's interesting to see all of the things that are coming to this. It might not be new technology, but it might be new people. People can come in and help show things off, from model making and prosthetics and stuff like that. You might even get some of the famous people, like from Weta Workshops or Winston's School of Arts and all that, coming into the St. Winston School of Arts or whatever, coming in to show you how to do all of this stuff, how to make it. I've already seen a lot of videos and stuff online, but you might get huge names coming to YouTube or to other platforms similar to that in order to show the general public how to do all these amazing things. Because although it's very open and stuff like that, you can easily ask the people on whatever platform. I know Instagram is pretty big for a lot of the artistic stuff. It would be interesting to just see tutorials on how to do that. I know Tested with Adam Savage and stuff like that has done a lot of stuff like that. They work with one model maker. His name is evading me right now, but he's done a lot of amazing stuff with all kinds of everything from silicone to cloth, all kinds of everything in between. And it's amazing to see the tutorials on how to go through building out all of these things for props and stuff like that. And I think that can tie into the makeup with how to do maybe not day-to-day makeup, but more prosthetic makeup, like for movies or for Halloween themed kind of stuff like that, masks and the like. So it doesn't have to necessarily be technology that's advancing it. Although technology will probably advance those fields individually, there might be more information and more accessibility to come due to the technology that we're gaining now. For example, there's a lot of places where maybe you don't have cell service, or maybe you don't have internet speeds and stuff like that in a lot of small towns. As they get it, it will be interesting to see more minds being fed more creative information. Maybe the next genius is in a small town and they just don't have internet right now. But once they have it, maybe they'll be the next Stan Winston, the next Steven Spielberg, the next, whomever. And it'll be interesting to see what comes of this spread of information and that comes with the growth of technology.
Valid.
What do you think,
Okay.
Bendy?
Okay, real quick.
What?
Nobody roast me for this, but my mic has been muted for the past 30 minutes and I had no idea.
Good job, Jake.
Like, I've been sitting here saying stuff for like 20 minutes and no one said anything, and I'm just like, wow, they must hate me, but
Poor Jake.
What have you been saying,
15
Jake?
minutes.
What have you
What,
been
like-
saying? Just recap it for all of us.
like I was sitting there talking about like the Project Scorpio thing or whatever, and that's probably gonna be pretty good, and everyone's just like ignores it, and I'm just like, oh, okay, never mind.
Poor Jake.
Oh man.
Look, you're unmuted now, and that's what matters.
It's valid.
Yeah. At least you realized it.
Yeah, at least I did this time. Last time I didn't.
Yeah. Good times.
So like I'm just imagining like nerds, like earlier when Nerd was like, so Jake, how do you feel about this? And
He like, I started to say something, and he goes like, okay, valid. I'm like, oh.
I mean, I'm an asshole, but I'm like not that much of one, right?
I'm a little surprised you didn't catch on at that point.
Vendy, what were you saying?
Oh wait, I was calm.
I think so. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
Jamie said so, Vendy. What do you feel about that?
About what?
I don't know, whatever Jamie was talking about. Probably the advancements of technology on different genres.
I'm not sure, cause I don't really know much about like all this stuff. I dwell in Overwatch. That's all. I dwell in Overwatch news. I watch stuff like Old Nickel, I think his name was.
How do you think technology is going to advance to Overwatch?
I hear there's gonna be VR for Overwatch, and I'm really hoping for that because that's gonna be amazing.
VR gameplay?
Yeah,
Ooh,
like
I wanna see
if I
that.
remember a while ago, someone I think somewhere in Asia. Someone had designed this little thing where you could. He used Overwatch as like an example. You had a VR looking headset thing with like a gun, like a fake one, and he'd had these things connected to his waistline. And what you do is you lean forward to walk forward, and I think you could also crouch and use abilities. That looked interesting. And like he showed you how to make one, but like, I'm actually quite excited for that type of stuff.
I think I saw something akin to that. I went to the PAX Prime, now known I think as PAX West 2013, and I saw a setup for VR for I think the Oculus Rift or something at the time, because that was before the Vive came about. That was basically, it looked like someone had skinned half a yoga ball and placed that upside down, and that was a sensor for like almost a rig, and you pulled in different directions, and as your foot slid across it, it would help determine which direction you were walking.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. There was also Stealth Shampoo has been doing a lot of VR gaming and stuff like that, which is really, it's incredible to see him play because he can switch between guns and even has like a rig that goes with the VR system that the controllers can pop into, and that spacing helps it determine which gun he's pulling out. I think it's like a VR CS:GO and stuff like that. And it's crazy because you can throw, everything has like realistic physics, and so you can throw the knives, you can throw the guns, you can shoot, you can reload, pick up clips, all of that stuff in like a CS:GO game format.
Wow.
It's really crazy. It's awesome to watch.
I think I saw one of those. I think it was one of those Facebook videos. It was a Ghost Recon game at some event like that, and it, like you said, it was like a yoga ball bottom half that it was like made of metal, and they had a harness on, like going around his waist and his upper body, and like a fake gun and a VR headset on. And every time he walked, like on this metal like a semicircle, it would walk in the game for him. He could crouch and he could shoot and all this and swap weapons. And I feel like that was a few years ago at one of those conventions. Is that what you're talking about?
I think it was. I think it's something like that. I think they got rid of that. That was originally designed for the Oculus Rift, but I think that's fallen to the wayside with the Vive's new Lighthouse technology and how it can use our effect of determine the position that of the different, that they have the extra devices that you can buy that screw onto other objects in the real world. So like in Wii, where you have the Wii Golf and the Wii Tennis, you can literally just take a whatever and screw that to the bottom, and it can track it. It's its own separate tracker. So then you can actually use a real baseball bat in your baseball game, or you can use a real tennis racket, or whatever you want. It's amazing. You can just attach them to anything, even like a coffee cup, so you can see where your coffee cup is in VR. It's awesome. I can't wait for those to be more utilized in the VR stuff, because that would be incredible for like social VR. If you had several people in a room, and you could easily stock your room with IKEA furniture, and then it would just know, oh, this is
Or
this
put down
model.
bad
and they
dragon
have that
items.
model.
No, I'm kidding.
Sure, I guess that would actually. You know what? Interesting point. I was watching the Rooster Teeth podcast a while back, and they were discussing VR porn, which I guess is
What?
usi-
I think I
utilizing
heard
a lot
that
of
one.
stuff like
That
that.
is a thing.
Yeah, with I can't remember who it was, but it's
It was with
interesting.
Ryan, I think.
With Ryan, the Mad King.
Yes.
Praise.
I don't think he was part of it. I think it was I want to say Barbara.
Sounds like a Barbara conversation.
Gus, Bernie. Well, they had the reason they were talking about it is because they had a someone who does VR porn was a guest on the podcast, on the RT podcast, and they were discussing what they do and how they do it and stuff like that, and how it all works. And the amount of technology they have, I mean, it's porn. Of course, they have the technology to do basically whatever they want.
That
It's
there's
amazing to
money.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. It's like someone's like, you know what, I want to do that, and people go, that sounds interesting, and they go, I want to do that with porn, and they go, yeah, okay, well, we're gonna make it'll be ready by Tuesday. Like, boom. Someone says, I want to make that with porn, and it's immediately just funded, doesn't matter what it is. I think that's one of the first things the internet was used for, was just porn. I think the very first thing the internet was used for was seeing if the coffee was full. So that kind of shows humans' list of
Priorities.
The second
Caffeine,
thing ever was
sex, entertainment. That order.
Well, I mean, like once they figured out they could put it on the internet, I mean, no one talks about it, but it's a pretty good business.
Oh, absolutely. It's a money gold mine.
Cash cow.
Absolutely. And VR porn, back on the topic, it is a thing, and it has been around since like the those little VR headsets became super popular and able, like, you could buy a phone and get one of those VR headsets. Ever since then, that whole genre exploded. And I've seen and read lots of articles that talk about how this is good, like the future, etc., etc. And now, like, we'll get into the risky things for the kids here. There are implements, if you will, or tools that will simulate it from a distance, from like a long distance partner. So
There goes our being on restricted mode.
so a partner will do something with the toy, and the other toy will feel it and simulate it as
Okay.
well. And
Hold
plus
up.
the
Is that like that pillow where if like someone's laying on it, the other one lights up?
kind of, sorta, same technology.
Similar, yeah, I was gonna say similar technology,
Okay.
but
Just saying, that's the future. It's a gold
Yeah.
mine.
I've seen a lot of weird shit been done. That's like, it's not quite porn, and it's not quite anything else. It's just a weird, like I've heard of people like doing VR porn, but they reverse headsets, so they've switched bodies and shit like that. That's just one of those things where it's like, I don't think I'd consider that porn. That's more of just a mind fuck. Just a mind fuck.
See what you did there. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the title of the
it's
episode.
Yeah.
like- yeah. So much for restricted mode.
Oh, there's gonna be asterisks in it. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure the engine doesn't double check for asterisks.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Well, look, all we have to do is put family friendly in our tags, and we're good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
there
gonna
you
be
go.
the other half of the title. It's gonna be mindfuck, family friendly.
Family friendly mindfuck.
There you go.
Yeah.
The
That's
tags
almost
are gonna be
part of
like
the
porn,
humanities.
porn, porn,
Mother
porn, family
tested.
friendly.
Child tested,
Non-sexual.
mother approved.
We only have a few more minutes left in the podcast. So, does anybody have any closing statements?
This was interesting.
Poor Jake didn't get to talk at all.
Hey, I don't know about the rest of these guys, but I really valued your input throughout the entirety of the podcast. Even if you couldn't hear it.
Appreciate the support.
Thank you. Yeah.
Participation points, man.
Well, I mean, there wasn't a lot of participation, but we give you points anyway.
Yeah. I vouch for him. Don't worry about it.
Well, Kento, you got anything to close us out with?
Oh wait, is it Nintendo? Oh no. I think Nintendo might be going out with a VR because you know with the Nintendo Switch, right? You know how it has like the screen
Mm-hmm.
and like the
Yeah.
little tiny controller things, right? And, like I don't have one, but I hear they're like really good with the games, right? You can like feel the stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
HD
Yeah.
Rumble, they call it.
Yeah, I can see you going for like a VR later. So if you'll have to like buy the Nintendo Switch first, and then with the you're gonna have to buy whatever they're gonna like add to it for VR stuff.
Or knowing Nintendo, they'll change very little and make a Nintendo Switch 2, and then you have to buy that for the VR to work. In the same way
Yeah.
they went from like, the Wii to the Wii U. It's like, look, we added a thing that sticks the controllers together. You have to buy it again.
The screen's an inch bigger.
In true
Yeah.
Nintendo fashion.
Now the thing slides into a headset. Only this one's compatible though. It's slightly thinner, so the other one won't fit.
Also comes.
Why
in a
does this
different
also sound like Apple?
color.
It's unfortunate to see Apple go. Like Apple's on its way out. Since Steve
Yeah.
Jobs died, it's been just a downward spiral.
It's
It's
like
interesting-
they had no plan for when he was gonna go, even though they knew eventually the man's gonna croak.
Well, no, he left, and they were drowning, and they're like, "Please come back." So he came back for one project, invented the iPad, and then he didn't end up leaving till he died. Basically, he was only supposed to come back for a short period, but they couldn't survive without him. So once he stayed on until he got sick, and then he passed away, and that was kind of it for Apple. He's one of those people that's like a visionary. It's like him and Will Wright with Maxis. When Will Wright left Maxis, I was sad to see him go because Maxis made all the Sims games and Spore and all of that almost that genre of game. And when he left, I knew that Maxis was gonna close its doors because he was the creative power behind it. And lo and behold, not long after that, it was sold to EA, and then eventually EA closed the doors on Maxis. And you just have these select visionaries that just seem to power the world at large, whether it's Steve Jobs or Will Wright or Elon Musk. You have these incredibly intelligent and creative people who go out and do things, and I think that's where a lot of almost power in the world comes from. Like Google kind of has that, and they have all of their creativity. They don't have anyone who's as good as Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. I don't think. I might be wrong. At least I haven't heard any names come out. But they have enough people who are in that direction that they're basically powering a creativity engine that they have so many things in so many different places that they're able to feed off of this creative energy and run with it in ways that other companies can't, because they only have the one visionary, like Apple with Steve Jobs. So it's interesting to see what the next visionary will be, or where they will take us, like with Elon Musk taking us to the moon or to Mars or beyond, depending on how fast he can get stuff going, which is pretty fast.
I think
apparently.
this conversation would be a fantastic pinpoint to begin the next podcast on, as I think it might be time.
I agree so. Well, guys, I guess we're ending it here. Thank you, John and Andrew, for showing up for the podcast today.
Please feel free to come back again. Y'all guys have been fantastic guests.
Definitely. Thank you, Nerd, and Jake, and Vendy for joining us today.
Even though I was absent for most of it.
You talk.
You want to talk about
you just
that?
were muted. It's the thought that matters.
You try.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And check out everybody down in the description below. We have everybody's links that were in the podcast. Be looking out for the next podcast coming out next Saturday. I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Peace out.